The Proud Faces Podcast.
Okay, now we're rolling. So I have a time set. Let's see how long it's gonna take us. So, Ray, welcome to the podcast. I guess one of the many, but very first guest today at the Proud Faces podcast. So, I have internally basically checked myself who I'm gonna invite for the potential podcast, but I'm not gonna reveal it right now. So I guess if you introduce yourself the way you want, maybe short, maybe longer, we'll guess if it's true why you're here at the podcast today.
Hi everyone. So you can call me Rayster. So uh, I just turned author. I just written my first book around 2022. So it's been a journey of self. My book is all about my journey of self discovery. So and also at the same time, I met Vic around last year in Bali. So we have this conversations about spirituality, about life in general, working in different countries, and all of that. So it's really a pleasure to be part of his podcast as one of the first guests. And yeah, anything under the sun, we we can talk anything.
Yeah, definitely. So the show is called The Proud Faces, but what we talk about, as I see, is my vision. We talk about everything. So the people are actually who's been through not just challenges, but they have some sort of achievements. They have a passion, right? So you have probably your interests, your passions, and something that we're gonna talk today is about your book that you released. But before we go in deeper into the book, maybe you wanna um, share something from your daily life, because the book is like a huge achievement. That many people want to write a book, they don't know what to start with. Maybe we can touch on that as well. But maybe you share more about what made you to write. Like, what was the reason, the main reason before what happened? Maybe some sort of situation, maybe uh, more. But and what you do on daily basis. So if someone is listening today and they want to write, when they want to start some project, so they can resonate maybe something like little things from your daily life, and if they resonate with that person, maybe that's gonna help someone who's listening today.
Okay, okay, let's try to take it slow.
Yeah,
So yeah, actually, I didn't really know that I will become an author, to be honest. When I announced my book and I PM some of my classmates and friends in high school and colleges,
right.
they responded to me that, my God, Ray, I didn't know that you will become a writer or an author, because I graduated as a computer science. So I work as a software engineer. So it's like, very logical person. I work with data. So I really work in a company than in writing that was just more creative. I was so surprised within myself as well. So what really happens is like, it's like a string of events, So to make it like, a summary, when I first started with working on my first year at work, I have this notion that even though I got promoted after 3 months or so on my first work, I did everything. But after a year or so, it became a routine for me. And it's like I was looking for something more. And I don't know, because it felt like during those time, most of the people in my office is like they are contented with what they do. They are just,
Right.
cubicle people. And there's this one day when I was with my boss, you know, because during those time, I think they are prepping me to become the next manager or the next team leader, because I was part with him during a call. And during those time, we were located at the edge of a building. So the window is see-through. So you can see a lot of buildings, you can see a swimming pool and all of that. Instead of
Right.
listening to the call, I was looking at the windows like, is this the kind of life I wanted to do for the rest of my
Right.
life? So it's like the question was like the start. So after that, I also met some office mate during those time that was into South Hub. So he has some books about Anthony Robbins, Robert
Mm-hmm.
Kiyosaki, and all of those
Right.
big giants back then. So it was the start. So then a series of events, I met a mentor who taught me meditation. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like one of the significant milestone that I achieved during those time that really changed how I see the world. And
Right.
during those time, I think the movie The Secret was just released. So it's like this law of attract, yeah, this law of attraction. So I just joined the
You just joined
club.
that rabbit hole, so you just dive in.
Yeah. So it's like it's continuous. So yeah. So flash forward, I quit that job after 3 years, and I don't have a job for almost a year or so. What a tragic year for me! But it was also a year of self discovery. So I met a coach. I was selling products. So anyway, after that, I rejoined in another company. I work again. So I met another office mate who's also into this esoteric stuff, meditation. And I was
Okay.
like, oh my God, what a series of coincidence. And
Yeah.
and I didn't expect that she's also a software engineer and we were talking about
Mm.
about past life reincarnation and all of
Yeah.
that. So I was like, she was the great influencer to me at that time. And then, Raymond, I want you to meet with the psychic that I talked to. I was like, what? Who? And so one thing led to another. I talked with the psychic and I was like, is this real? Is what she's talking to me is real? How did she know stuff? I didn't tell her
Right.
anything. So it was like, I don't really understand during those time because I was like taking notes and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually in my book on the first part. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's on the first part of my
Can
book.
we stop there for a second? Yeah, just hold the
Yeah,
thought.
yeah,
So I want to touch first on the first coach, the first mentor that you got on meditation. How did it begin,
yeah.
and what was your first impression and how it was? Because I know for everyone it's like they talk just one word, they say just one word, meditation. But for everyone, it's like so different, different experience. How you start, how you sit, how you focus. Like I know how it is for me, so I just want to know how it started for you.
Yeah, that was around 2013. I think from the spiritual circle. I think that's the year they called that the first wave
How
of
old are you?
spiritual.
Like I forgot to ask. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm actually older than you. I'm already now 35.
35. Okay, I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm 34. So it's just 1 year. Okay.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, where was I? So about the coach, right?
Yeah.
So that was around the year 2013 when I first quit my first job. Good thing during those time, the coach that I met, we were doing about network marketing. So it really, I was so because back then I was so shy. I'm so introverted. I really don't want to to meet with people. So she's the one who expand me. So it's like out of on a whim, she just told me that, Ray, do you have anything to do? Check this out. It's a meditation. It's like it's a one hour long. It will explain everything about meditation, and just try it if it resonates with you or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, since I don't have a job at that time, I was like, okay. So I would
Right.
just watch the video because during those time I like to consume stuff. So I was watching anything, anime, whatever, video games. So yeah, I tried it, and then every day she always checked on me. Then it became a week, a month, and then I really
Mm-hmm.
realized and noticed something that, oh, this is great because right now I can gather my thoughts properly. Unlike
Right.
before when I was working, especially
Mm-hmm.
with coffee, I
Mm-hmm.
just like jittery and I was all over the place. So with
Yeah.
meditation during those time, it's like it was really the what I was looking for. And then until it deepens my practices, and then there's a day that there's not a day that I don't do meditation afterwards. So
Right.
that
But
was one of her.
do you do actually the meditation with yourself, or you do activation, which is like a guided trance meditation?
With meditation, I initially start with being guided. I
Yeah, of course.
usually listen to it, to whatever I found interesting because I change meditation music from time to time. So during those time, I just stick to what I want to listen for several months. So and then And then last few years ago, I managed to meditate just by with me and just nothing with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it evolves
Yeah.
and it also changed over time for me.
Right. Yeah, I actually kind of forced myself to go back to activations, which is guided because it has like different themes, different goals, what you can achieve, and different things you
Yeah,
can work on just with like a psychiatrist, right? So you have a problem,
yeah,
internal, maybe guilt or other feeling that you want to
yeah, yeah.
work on. So you have to kind of force yourself to activation because you go deeper than your regular meditation. Regular meditation, I think, is more about regulation, calming the
Mindfulness.
nervous, mindfulness. But sometimes you don't have too much time. Like you just focus in the morning or whenever you do it. But when I went back to activations, it changed a lot because you actually, from what I've heard, like if you have one request, something that you want to, work with in meditation, you have to do it constantly for 30 days. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So regular meditation, when you just yourself, when you just focus, you close your eyes, it's just basically mindfulness, which is great. But to me, what I also realized, I haven't done this meditation work when I was in a company. So like, it's so interesting for me to see how it's working because you said like you started meditation, you got a coach, and you almost instantly quit the job. So to me, it was also like a spiritual practice that made me to quit the job. So I wonder if many people are listening and they just simply start meditating. What if everyone just quit their jobs and we're just gonna be, so happy? Who's gonna work then?
Yeah. I mean, what I mean with any kinds of meditation, because first and foremost, there are many kinds of meditation, right? Like what you said, the activation,
Right.
and there's this also body scanning, like the vipassana one, and there's like the goal one, like what you wanted to achieve, what you wanted, intention
Yeah.
meditation. So yeah, everyone can just start somewhere and they can just explore. So for me, I started with guided, and that took off, and yeah, and
Yeah.
and here we are now.
Yeah, I think it's like it takes strength to actually face yourself because there's no one else to
Yeah.
face. But when you do that, it opens the doors and so many opportunities and so many things to do on yourself because you think, okay, this is the first transformation, and maybe in a couple more transformation will be my last. But no, it's just constant growing. It's like
Yeah.
never ending. Okay, I mean, I understood like how it started. So let's go back to your second job where you said you met another mentor.
Okay. Well, it's just not really my mentor, but she's well. I mean, she's a considered a psychic, but I wi- what I think yeah, I think I talked with her again last 2020 because of a dream. So the last time I talked with her was 2014. That was the first meetup, and it was a soul reading. So I mean, if someone who is familiar or have this kind of experience with the psychic or any kinds of related stuff like tarot reading or astrology and all of that. So for
Right.
me, it was like because my office mate told me that um, it was an experience for her, and if I am curious, I should go and ask questions. So I just have I just list my questions, and looking back, I just remember like my questions are so like pathetic. It's like okay, so this is the older version of myself who wants to ask questions because some of it are kind of superficial. But anyway, we don't have to judge we don't have to be so harsh about our previous self anyway. So yeah, so our meetup is just at in the cafe. So it was a
Yeah.
regular cafe. I thought she was wearing something glamorous like a psychic, or maybe she has a bowl in her
No, she
or
wasn't. She
painting
was a
on
regular
me.
person.
She was a regular
Yeah.
person, and I was like, okay. When I saw her, she was sitting all by herself. I instantly spotted her. So actually, I have written that on my book. It was a fun experience. So anyway, so there, she has a paper and pen. So I just gave my full name and gave it to her. And after that, she just asked for my permission. And just like in spiritual circles, you need to ask permissions before you do
Mm.
something. to invade, or not necessarily invade, but to 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 search or to for others space, right?
Right.
So there's that. It actually our conversation is all about soul readings. So this is quite high level stuffs
Mm-hmm.
for a psychic. So she just read about what was like related past reincarnation, what was like my soul signature and something like that. And she just told me
Mm.
that what what is my passion and a potentialities actually.
Right.
So that was 2014, and she told me that I have potential in writing and business. And looking
Right.
back, I was like goosebumps because right now it's 2025. I was
Yeah.
reflecting about this a few months ago, and I was like, oh my god, what the
Yeah.
psychic told me 2014 was like
Yeah.
was I
Do
did
you
not
think do you think they just kind of have ability to tap in into the quantum field which has no time, and they basically see the higher self, and they basically just see, okay, you're a writer, you're successful, you're, world known author, but you are here, you're still in previous version of yourself, you still don't know that, but they don't care because for them it's no time, they know who you're going to be
yeah.
for sure. So you just have to reach that, and you don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take maybe 2 months, maybe 20
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
So yeah, during those time I was like fascinated. I was like, okay, okay. I was
Yeah.
just taking notes. I was not really I mean, I was trying to pay attention, but of course, I was like taking notes most of the time. Okay, this is what she told me: business, leadership, and I think there's a few things that she said to me that I have to trust myself. I should follow my heart regardless of what other people
Right.
think. And it must come from my heart. My work must come from my heart,
Right.
not other people, not anything, any kinds of networking or whatever. Because I told her that I am being invited by a friend to join this network event and something like that.
Right.
So she just told me that your success and your ability is you have to follow your heart. Being alone is temporary. Your friends will show up when you are ready. That's it.
Absolutely.
And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that it ended the conversation. Then I was grateful for her. I gave her the energy exchange amount
Right.
that we discussed, and I just zoom off and
Mm-hmm.
proceed with my day. And after
Okay.
the next day, my office mate were bugging me. It was like, Ray, what happened? What happened? Tell me the details. Oh my god, that was like one of the my office mates because
All
she was
right.
also curious because yeah.
Yeah. I kind of I can relate. I didn't have like a real psychic like you explained, but before,
Yeah.
like I was born in Siberia, and by
Mm-mm, yeah.
2012, I also always wanted to visit United States and just go there as a
Yeah.
student in the exchange program.
Yeah.
But for the first time, when I applied, my visa was denied, so I had to
Mm.
apply for the next year. So I didn't know what to do, and but I decided next year to apply again, and to see like if I can still visit the United States, because for me it was a dream while I was a
Yeah.
student. And right, like I think a couple of weeks before the plane has scheduled to fly, I've met the palm reader in the park with my friends. So we basically were
Mm.
having the party like of my departure, because he kind of felt, and I knew I'm not gonna come back real soon because this
Yeah.
exchange program is
Yeah.
at least 6 months, but who knows, like if I'm gonna, maybe I'm just gonna stay. And she told
Yeah.
me, you have a long journey ahead of you, and I was like, I don't think it's a journey. I'm just
Mm.
gonna go there and stay there. I don't have to like travel. But
Yeah.
like I couldn't like grasp the gravity. Like maybe it's the same experience you're saying. Like maybe they just tap in, they just see it, they read the poem, and they just
Yeah.
know. And what happened is, I definitely, it was a journey. I was there for a long time, and I came back in almost
Yeah.
10 years, and I'm traveling still. But
Yeah.
the fact, that kind of node that they see on the palm is actually true. So I'm really fascinated by this stuff, and I'm actually reading the book right now. The author called Ingo Swann. Have you heard of it? Ingo Swann. Ingo Swann. He's
I
like,
author, right?
what?
He's an author.
Yeah, he's an author. He
Yeah.
wrote the book.
Yeah,
It's
I've heard.
he wrote multiple books, and one of them I'm reading right
Yeah.
now. It's called A Natural Guide to ESP. extrasensory perception, which is psychic abilities. So
Yeah, yeah.
he was actually fascinated about it in a way that he is like a scientist. He wants to know deeper levels of the how people is basically what is ESP, extrasensory perception, is basically
Yeah,
our intuition, how we can
yeah,
activate it. But he didn't
yeah,
know that it's actually applied for everyone. So everyone is a psychic.
yeah,
It's just whether you work
yeah,
with this or not.
yeah.
So it's kind of cool. But there's so much to deep go deeper on this subject because it's interesting. And it's kind of scary because you don't know what kind of abilities you possess. But yeah,
Well, I mean, sometimes we are, recently I just read more about this. Like sometimes we are scared of our own light than our own shadow. It's like we are
oh,
scared of our own power. Yeah.
it's deep.
So
Yeah,
I think that's about. Yeah, and yeah, from what you said, we all have that power. It's like a matter of level and how we use it because it really depends on the person. If how how do you do your spiritual practices? Do you do your meditation? How do you do your all of these things that is related to our intuition? Just
yeah,
one day, I think I've heard in one of the podcasts, like if you are so good with all of this, your intuition will just automatic. It's like every day you don't need to do anything. It's like became what they call that in India, siddhi. It's like
yeah.
a ability, yes, ability that
City.
you
Yeah.
just have. Yeah, not naturally. It's like you will have this kind of ability naturally, especially
Yeah,
with
you can
meditation.
tap into that energy through different levels. I also do
Yeah,
yoga and meditation. So, for example, if one of the things are not working, the other will supply for it. So, for example, yoga has different asanas for
yeah,
every
yoga.
single
Yeah,
chakra. So, if you didn't do
yeah,
activation meditation, you can still do yoga and you can be so grounded that you can tap into that energy that you're saying. But if you do both, it's not like you're gonna get double of the energy, but it's just so different. For example, some old people or they have injuries, they don't do yoga much, so they can practice it through meditation. But at the same time, there is like saying from the old monk. I've heard somewhere and seen it somewhere on Twitter. It was saying like the one millionaire he went to the temple in Himalayas and asked the monk, the major one. So
yeah, yeah.
how many hours a day I have to meditate to reach the fulfillment, enlightenment, and
Enlightenment,
stuff,
enlightenment.
enlightenment. And what if I meditate for 4 hours a day? Will it be enough? And the monk said, if you're gonna meditate 4 hours a day, you're gonna reach enlightenment in 10 years. Oh, that's very long, he said, the millionaire. It's like, what if I meditate 8 hours a day? And the monk said, so if you're gonna meditate 8 hours a day, it's gonna take you 20 years, my friend. And he was like so shocked. Why? If I meditate less, why I reached my enlightenment faster? He said, because life is about to be joyful. Life is made to be enjoyed. So you have to enjoy the life first. Because if you too
Yeah,
much into like meditation, if like
yeah,
too much into practices spirituality, you're gonna miss out
yeah,
on life because
yeah.
the God has created divine
Both.
masculine, divine feminine, both, and you have to live in a balance. Because I've seen so many people going all the way into spirituality,
The clouds. The clouds.
which is not a bad thing. Maybe it's their soul, but if it's not soul calling,
Yeah.
it's just their experience, which is gonna they face the truth, later. Yeah,
Yeah. Everyone has to go to any kinds of experiences because I've been there before, spiritual bypassing, false God, false light, all of that. So it's like, it's just an initiation for our soul. It really depends on the person, on what is our true path and our calling. So yeah, all of
yeah.
those, just part of the plan.
Pretty much what we're saying, like is the book by Donald Walsh, Conversation with God. Really nice book. And basically, what's happening there, he's writing the journal, and he realizes that the way he writes is actually already conversation with God. So whatever his pen is writing in the paper is the God.
Yeah.
So the God does not speak through us through our ears. There's no image or anything. He was basically, it was his ability, his psychic ability to do that. He's still alive. He's still doing it. He's still writing books. But what he's saying is that there's no good and bad. There's only consequences from good and bad. Like whatever you do, there's a kind of, and we just making it good, and we just making it bad
Yeah.
internally.
It's a human construct anyway. Most of the it's a mental construct, the good and bad. And to add what you said earlier regarding about the writing, from what I've heard from one of the spiritual teachers I am following in YouTube, our right hand is usually connected to our intuition. So especially when we are writing, it's mostly came from our own intuition. It's a matter of how we enhance our work
Right,
and how we are connected to it. So from writing songs, music, everything. So
right.
it mostly came from our intuition.
Nice. Maybe that's why I like the music I play.
Yeah,
I can play
regard.
guitar, and I can write.
Yeah,
When I do the journaling, it's I can flow and for maybe an hour and
yeah.
just write a lot of stuff.
You'll just notice it. So regardless of your spiritual beliefs, it doesn't really matter. Your hand and your writing is connected to your intuition.
Well, at the same time, there's energetic level, like from psychoenergetics, right? So we have the
Yeah,
energy, right? But if we have an energy and an energy comes in the waves, and if waves come from the sounds, and when we speak from, but at the meditation, we don't speak. And when we write, we don't, also, there's no sound. So what do you think, how the vibrations work in terms of psychic abilities if it's proven by science that the energy is a sound, is a wave. But when we meditate in silence and when we write the journal, there is no um, there's no sound. How we can explain those? Because we basically get the same match on the level if we do sound. For example, we sing or we pray or we do it in silence. How we can compare that?
well, I have two things in my mind. So first thing, it's energy, right? So the second thing is I believe because I watched some podcasts a few weeks ago with Deepak Chopra and Michael Beckwith. They are talking about quantum physics because
Right.
this is much more grounded to talk to people than just pure spirituality. So I haven't really studied about quantum physics. Actually, if I have more time, I am going to read one of the books about it. But yeah, there's a lot of ongoing studies about it, like how they
Yeah.
can prove things like what you are saying regarding how meditation and all of that. But another thing is that with meditation, there's already a lot of scientific evidence about it. Like the scientists already investigated the monks. They put something in their head.
Yeah.
I think,
Exactly.
yeah, you have read articles like that. So it's like scanning the mind and how meditation help the person scientifically and all of the benefits. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
an ongoing study because science is gradually catching up with spirituality.
And
And
that's what actually Ingo
yeah,
Swan is actually talking in his book. So he was back in '70s or '80s. He was already like all wired in his head. He was under
mm,
experiments, like not
yeah,
for meditation, but for intuition, how it's working. It's like when you have a test in front of you, you have no idea about the answer, but you know exactly the answer. How it's gonna like how we can explain this. Same thing with
yeah,
meditation. It's like believing that some people believe there is no energy, there is no like spirituality, but like you believe in Wi-Fi, right? So if you turn off Wi-Fi, which you cannot see, your life is like you become madness, right?
yeah,
So you're gonna see those waves, but they exist. So same as with energy. Um, Good. So let's go back to your story. You talked to the psychic.
yeah.
What happened next?
So because I am basing my story based from my book, because my book is divided into three parts. The first one is I call foundation. So the foundation is like my old self, like the previous how everything started, how I was molded and to be who I am today. The second part of my book is I call Quest. So that this part is all about travel because after that psychic event,
Mm-hmm.
um, the first thing, the next story is Singapore because that was like my first foreign travel. So as a Filipino, I most of my life for that. Yeah, I mean 20 to 25. That was like I was working very hard, and at the age of 25, I started traveling. So that's Singapore was like my first foreign travel, and that was the part two of my book. So after the psychic, it ended there, and then it transitioned to Quest. So Quest is like about external, external exploration about
Right.
myself and what is my connection to the world. So the first chapter there is like how I will navigate, foreign travels because it is my first time. I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what I signed up for. So good thing I have my sister during those times. She pushed
Right.
me to go this adventure, and this is where the synchronicities also started
Right.
appearing and happening for me, even in Singapore in that first country.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, with synchronicities, it was my birthday actually. So that's
Right.
why my sister was like strong. It's like, yo, let's go. It's your birthday. I mean, but my God, the one night for the Marina Bay Sands Hotel is so
Right.
expensive, and I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna pay for this. I'm not gonna pay for this. I was like, well, it's your birthday, just go for it. And so good thing she's there. She's my cheerleader. So anyway, long story short, so the first night our room got upgraded because it was my
Right.
birthday. So that was unexpected. Well, thank you.
Nice.
So that night, we were strolling around the area, the Marina Bay Sands.
Right.
We were looking for a cake for me. We were looking for a cake. So, but we got home. We got back to our hotel. We didn't find anything because the cake was so expensive. It's like how
Right.
much was it? It's like my rent here in Metro Manila. It's so expensive.
Yeah,
So
Singapore.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Singapore's so expensive. So anyway, we went back and then we a bit frustrated, but still we are enjoying our chicken Hainanese because it's one of the food that we have to try. It's based from our friends. So yeah, it was still a good night.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everything with Singapore was very fascinating because it was a very structured, disciplined country. It was like we were lost many times, but still we still enjoyed it. So unlike from my home country back then, is I mean we're still structurally we are still ongoing. So anyway, the next day we have a buffet, breakfast buffet, because when I was booking my ticket, I was like, why not take the buffet? It's like the small difference upgrade anyway. So during our breakfast, we were eating different kinds of things because it was our first time, and of course, we were like a child, it's like let's just eat it here, this here anyway. So anyway, what happened afterwards is that there's this waiter who served coffee in our table.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking because Singapore is also part of Asia. So of course, you expect that most people there are still Asian. Of course, there's foreigners as well. So it started with a question. It's like, where are you where did you come from? It's like, and I said Philippines. I was like, oh, kababayan. So it's like because kababayan means like Filipino thing. So
Right.
like, so what are you doing here? Why did you visit Marina Bay Sands? And I said, I just blurted out something. I was like, it was my birthday. I was like, oh my god, why did I say it?
Yeah.
So I was like, so my sister was just eating because of course she's like, so I was like the one doing the talking. It's like, oh hey, happy birthday. Oh, by the way, don't go anywhere. I'll be back. So that's the waiter. I was like,
Uh,
after yeah, the
she comes
waiter
back
just
with a cake, huh?
vanished. Yeah. So
Yeah.
before he came back with a cake, there's this choir that all of the waiter was at my back. They are in line and they are
Yeah.
singing happy birthday, happy birthday. So it's like it was of what one of the ashamed experience that I have because it's like I want to go under the table because I'm so ashamed. It was like
Yeah.
a
So
surprise
much
thing because
attention. Yeah.
so much attention. Everyone is looking at me. Of course, just like I said, it is my first travel. I am not used to people. I don't talk to anyone. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, apart from
I can
work and my
imagine.
friends and
Mm-hmm.
family, I was so close. So, after that, and here's your cake. I was like, well, thank you. And I was like, of course, we didn't realize that it was that we were looking for the cake that time because, of course, with so many things happening, right? So I was like being in the moment and just enjoy taking pictures. And I was like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
after the breakfast, after the cake, my sister went ahead to our room. and I was like lagging behind because I was finishing something. And then I stand up
Right.
and exited around the table area of the place.
Right.
When I was about to head out, there's this young old lady, probably Chinese or Singaporean. She approached me and she said, "Hey, Joshua, happy birthday!" And I was
Because
like,
she
and
saw
I
it.
was like,
Uh,
yeah, she's like, she looked me in the eyes, she's chinky
mm,
eyes, like, "Hey, Joshua, happy birthday!" I was like, I was frozen for like 5 seconds until my
yeah.
sister, "Hey, come over here." I was like, what was that? Because I'm also not used to strangers, because in the Philippines, of course, we celebrate our birthday with family, with friends.
Yeah.
So it's like you are not. I am not used. I'm not sure about other country or about you, but it's like someone just approached me saying happy birthday. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So from what I'm trying to say is that based from this experience, it's like the world is not a bad place. That's
Yeah.
like one thing that registered to me after that. That really encouraged me to do solo traveling after that, because I have so many experience in Singapore that everything that I see there is screaming that, okay, next travel I'm going by myself.
Right.
I don't have my sister, because my sister sometimes is limiting me to go to some places. She wants me to be with me all the time. So of course I cannot do what I want, right? So that's just one of the caveat during those times. So of course we enjoy our stay there, going to Universal Studios and all of that, what you can see in Singapore. So that was like
Yeah.
the experience, the catalyst for me at the age of 25. And at the same time, what I wanted to add is that I'm not sure if you heard about numerology.
Of course.
I tried this. Yeah, I tried numerology as well during those time. And from the birth reading that I've got, it says that one of the major happenings, was it pinnacle or life? I forgot what was called. Is that at the age of 25, I will have a life changing event.
Mm.
And then the
That
next few
was the
years,
event. So for you, that was the
yeah,
strongest event at that time.
yeah, it coincides with what it says, that at the age of 25 I will have this kind of life changing event
Like a shift. Yeah.
that continues for several years, about travel and knowing myself better, and it's like untangling what I am wanted to do. And then here comes my
Yeah.
book. So Singapore was the start, then it went
Nice.
to Japan, to Taiwan, and other countries,
Yeah.
then
And
met different kinds
regarding
of
the
people. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah regarding the numerology, have you also heard about the human design?
Yes.
Yeah, human
Human
design and astrology.
design, gene keys,
Yeah.
astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I
yeah.
think
I've heard.
people are underestimate how strong it is because for example, if you combine like human design, which is based on astrology and Kabbalah, and numerology, you can basically find any person, your personality, your dispositions, like already encoded in
Yeah,
yourself, and from that you can build. You don't need a psychic. You already know your
yeah,
information. You can just put your birthday, put your name, last name, the place you were born in, and basically you will have the whole breakdown. But before, and maybe a couple of years ago, it would be you would need to find a professional who can do the reading. Now you can
yeah,
paste it in the chat GPT, which will give you like
yeah.
fullest possible reading. And what I've done
Yes.
with, I actually have done my palm reading, which is amazing. Everything actually synchronized. Well, if you do the separate requests and even the separate platforms of GPT about palm reading, about human design, about like numerology and everything, if you put it all together, all the same. It's all the same. It's just on through different readings. It gives you exactly the same information. For example, if you take my name in numerology, it's actually 963, which is Tesla numbers. So it's all about destiny,
Oh,
also travel. It's like really, really. But my life number, life path is 7, which is also a strong number.
spirituality. Number
Yes,
7 is about
exactly.
spirituality, exploration,
Yeah,
curious seeker. Yeah, I have a friend who is 7, so I really know about
yeah,
7. And 7 are good people with 11. Oh, by the way, my life path is 11.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so we're good friends with 7. I'm good friends with 7.
I imagine like if in a couple of years, and maybe sooner, like all the companies was gonna hire people, and this already happened. Actually, I heard on the news, if they're gonna check every potential employee by their numbers, by numerology, human design. They're not gonna
Wow.
look at the background much. They're gonna actually look what are you capable of, and they just gonna
Yes.
there's the strongest like dispositions. They're gonna actually help you work on those, because if you really like strong with ideas, if you're deep thinker, maybe you have more strategy, so you cannot do too much sales because you're gonna be struggling. You have to work in marketing, actually driving the ideas, working on that. That way, your right side of the brain, which is more developed with your dispositions, will give you more power, whatever you do. But this will be just as an experience. And then when you start your own business, it's also gonna, stimulate you to, look at that clearly. But definitely, these technologies, if they can work for us instead of against us, I think that humanity is about to shift really good in a good way. So, for example, if someone's listening and then you talking about your life story that you wrote a book and they are fascinated, but in between the periods when you were saying you didn't have a job for a long time, and people are going to transitions maybe nowadays as well. A lot of people, like what I hear, what I from my friends and co-workers. So a lot of people are going through transformation, isolation, hermit mode, and
Yeah.
maybe they already know about some stuff about spirituality. They know about that we just discussed, the human design. But what is actually the key? Like, if you were asked, between the when you decided to go different way, be on the other side. So, what would be the most encouraging thing for you, like to say in the past that you have to stay on this path?
Okay. So what I want to say is take a big leap of faith, a jump
Right.
of faith. I mean, so for me, I started with my writing around 2022 when I finally started with 1 to 2 chapters. So it was not an overnight thing when it comes to writing. It was like a
Yeah.
gradual thing. So 2022, I think ChatGPT and other things are still it's still not in public, I believe. Or if there's one, it's not really official.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I started my writing around 2022, and every month I started doing some chapters like how I structure my book and something like that. So what I would say to people is that take it slow, because during 2022 I still have my job. What really happens for me is that I didn't quit my job, to be honest. The company laid me off, so I was laid
Right.
off around 2023 October. And
Mm-hmm.
during those time, I'm like 50% or 60% finished with my book.
Right.
So so it's like, I mean, you just have to trust your own journey. So because for me, it's like my journey of becoming is almost near at that point. So we will have many experiences, we will have experiences in our own personal life that will push us to do our own path. So for me, because one of the reasons why I write my book, because uh, I have some story to tell. There's like in my first chapter of my book, there's a foundation part that I experienced tremendous, trauma when I was a kid. So it's like something that I really want to share to the world on how they can overcome it, like the power of human resilience. So that's on the first chapter of my book. And then with my writing, actually, I am still so lazy during those times because I have work, so I cannot dedicate my whole energy to writing, and I still am clouded. I am confused to some degree. So what the universe sometimes do to us is that they gave us challenges that sometimes we feel like it's so hard that we want to give up. We don't want to do this. How will people judge me and all of that? But for me, that it's in 2023, usually I lost three things. So I actually posted this on Instagram and
All
my
right.
social media. So yeah, I lost two people, my loved ones, and my job on the same year. So it was
Mm.
really like the tower moment of that horror. It's like everything was crumbling in my life
Yeah.
that I have no choice but to, you know, I don't know what to do because, of course, I realized afterwards that because here's the thing, most of us, when it comes to corporate life and working in a job and all of that, we were so conditioned to do that for the rest of our life. So since it was a programming, an old programming, it was also kind of hard to undo that. So for
Yeah.
me, it took me like probably a year, yeah, less than a year to like really understand why I cannot finish my book. So it's
Mm.
like so it gradually showed to me that, of course, because I was dedicating my energy to something that I am not passionate with instead of doing the work for me. So and then I remember that what my psychic told me, that your work must come from your heart and must come from you, not from others. So regardless if this is a company or not, we have to follow our own heart. So anyway, it was not like I quit, something like that. So
Mm.
if someone is in a situation that they want to quit already, what I suggest is, have an emergency fund.
Yeah.
Then yeah, emergency fund, then 6 months or more, the better, right? And then take the leap of faith. And also, if you're following someone who has a course or in YouTube and you really trust, I believe, you know, do take the course if it's something that really resonates with you. Because I also have this notion before that, these people on YouTube, they just want money from people. But I realized that the courses that they were offering actually really, really help people. And you just really have to pick who is your content creator, who is your guide, who is your guru. Because
Yeah.
for me, I also take some course before even 2022. So one thing leads to another, and here we are. I am already doing writing. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it.
So
You just
so
have
the,
to.
the writing, it's did of course it didn't happen overnight. So you had to take small steps, writing chapter by chapter, and then eventually you get it. So for example, if you for the person who's listening right now, who's just tuning in, if you um, for example take journaling seriously, exactly the same with the book. So if like you have a life experience you want to share about with the world,
Share.
you definitely can do, but you can take small steps. So you don't have to quit the job if you can do it. It's like only matters what you do after your working hours. So if you actually questioning yourself, you want to relieve from the conditions of the matrix, right? To go to the other side.
Yeah.
There are small steps you can take. And any other maybe recommendations for someone to get inspired by your book? Like what's who's this book
Uh,
for? Yeah.
yeah, actually, I have written my book. I really don't know what I am doing actually, because of course, who doesn't really understand what you're doing in the first place. So when I was writing my book, I was like, um, I just want to write. During those time, I just want to write. Okay. Then after I have finished my book and share it to some of my friends, one of my friends actually told me, "Oh, your book is interesting. It's like It, Pray, and Love." "Oh, what is that? Is that a movie?" I said, "Yeah." Okay, so this is not new. I mean, someone already written something, and it's like, okay. So for me, because although my first book is multi-genre, I realized that I should have aimed a specific genre as well. But well, it was my first book anyway, so it's like a because here's the thing. I have read this book, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, around
Yeah.
2015. Yeah, so I think it really resonates with me, and it's also one of my inspiration why I started traveling, because it's like the story is talking to me. It's like I am that Santiago. It's like I'm Santiago, and he goes
Yeah.
to places and have experiences. And I also did some experiences. It's like what is telling on the book. I also have that experiences, and also to add about my book actually came into realization in one of my travels as well when I visited Taiwan. So during those time, I'm supposed to visit Japan because I am so addicted to Japan during those time. But Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to Japan, so I rerouted to Taiwan. So I'm still quite frustrated when I am in Taiwan, but there's this one specific event that happened there that I met
Mm-hmm.
someone that eventually told me and go into the direction that I need to write a book with the event because it was my birthday. We met again. Actually, we met up again in 2019 in Japan. So what happens is that she gave me a gift, and you know what
Mm.
she gave me? It's a pen.
Uh-huh.
And I said, "What? What? Why did you give me a pen?" Because you're right. And I
Mm.
was like, "Huh? I write?" Because during those time I'm active with social media, so I just post on social media. I just want whatever whatever comes to my mind, whatever journaling or travel or something. I was like, okay, and I was like, okay, I write. So years after, I took a course, and it's like, it's like finding what is your purpose or something like that, like what is your skill and something like that. So after the course, I realized that I really have a gift for writing. So that's where I connected that. So it's like, oh my god. So the one person that I met in Taiwan eventually, which is not planned because I'm supposed to go to,
Mm-hmm.
to Japan, eventually was the person who showed me the direction and gave me confidence that I am writing. So yeah, because back then I don't have really self confidence that I can do this or I can do that. So that's why
Right.
in my book, in my first chapter, I have written here as a guide that I said, I've come to believe that every person we meet serves as a purpose in our lives. That sometimes they came along just the right time, offering a lesson, a nudge toward growth, or even a sprinkle of magic.
Mm.
So
Nice.
it's like the first chapter because it's one of those experiences, for me, I really resonates or I geared towards direct experiences. So my belief systems when it comes to belief to direct experiences is that theory or spirituality and self-help, I usually want to ground that through my own direct experiences here on earth. So it's like you are grounding all of these teachings down to earth. And that's why, remember, I told you earlier that I wanted to try. Oh yeah, one of the reason why I traveled because I wanted to try this law of attraction thing because if it's true
Yeah.
or not, that's just one of the. It's just like crazy thing that like okay, so it is kind of true, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Okay.
about it about writing. So
Yeah. So, if someone is listening and they have a choice to, get a bunch of self-help books, right? So, what would be the main takeaway from your book? So that would be, additional tweak to actually buy your book instead of millions of others. So, how is going to stand out on their bookshelf?
well, because one of the reasons that I have written my book instead of being of a self help book or as well, I mean spirituality can be a different thing, but self
Yeah.
help there's so many things with self help, and some of them are like almost the same thing. Say
Yeah.
say yeah,
Different author and just same thing. Yes.
yes. Because one of the things that I realized with my book and as a memoir is that no one can replicate your story. Everyone has a
Absolutely.
unique story. Yes, so
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I decided to write it as a memoir with a slash of self-help, spirituality, and travel because I believe that everyone has a story to tell. That's about it.
Yep.
So it can be inspiration. People can just draw experiences and relationship from the book through their own lens. So that's how I envision how I write my book.
Okay. Okay. So is there something else that you're working on? For example, you said like you found yourself in writing and you already wrote your first memoir. So what would be the next thing? And is it going to be also writing related or is it going to be something else?
Yes, it's still writing related, but right now I'm kind of exploring about it's actually writing related. So I'm currently exploring what will be my next book. So it can be related to self help or spirituality. And at the same time, right now I'm focusing about branding. So it's like I'm currently studying as well AI agents and all of that on how it can handle social media platforms,
Right.
how it can post from one thing to another. And of course, I have a degree in computers, so of course, it's always an advantage. Even though some people have said to me that I have wasted my, my degree because it is a high paying job. But yeah, but AI is here. Even in the computer technology, even from my last company, they are learning AI. So AI is new, even if you have experience with computer. Even in the next 5 years, actually, there will be new jobs that will surface. Even as a software engineer, I think this will evolve with AI. So I think it is not wasted, to be honest. So, some people just, stick with their linear kind of thinking. So, that's how they do their things. But for me, since I am focusing on my work for more than a year now, so I kind of understand now what content
Right.
creators are doing, like how they can focus and how they can have this flow with their work and passion. Because when you are doing something that you are really passionate, and you are not connected to a company or other things that is blocking you, you are just living your own flow. You're just living your life's code. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay. So what do you think about the jobs of the future? So what kind of jobs we have if AI is conquering the world and all the jobs and people, like I think the transition is going too fast that we don't have a plan B. Like for a
Yeah.
lot of people, they like, so how you think the society has to adjust in the way of like surviving? Because another bad stories that I've heard, like recent news from I don't know if you've heard or not, in Indonesia, there's like another island from like we've met in Bali, but there's
Bali.
next the neighbor island called Java, and I think that one of the governors on Java is saying that okay, we have to work with poor people, so we have to eliminate poverty. So we're gonna pay for some middle-aged men 500,000 rupees. So for them to be circumcised, not to circumcise, sorry, to be basically to remove their testicles so they cannot reproduce. So if that's gonna be the the choice to work with poverty so people don't work, I don't think that's the right way. So what would be the the best way to change in our society so everyone can prosper?
I remember one of the psychic told me, because we have another conversation 6 years after. Because during those time, I was worried about my mission, what I wanted to do for the world.
Right.
And just she reminded me, she's like, Ray, you don't have to carry the whole world in your shoulder. It takes many people to destroy our planet, because we were talking about, we were talking about garbage, pollution. So she told me that it takes millions of people to pollute our earth. It will take millions of people to clean our earth. So from
Yeah.
that statement, I just understand that, okay. So she just told me that just do you, just do your thing, just be the shining light for others, and that's more than enough. You don't have to carry all of this. So from what you're saying, it's like about the Indonesia, because of course there's this country-based problem, right? So that is something that we cannot, like, what's the problem in Indonesia? What's the problem in the Philippines? What's the problem in the Singapore? That is something that is beyond our control. So since we have the internet now, we just have to use it to our own advantage, because we can use it, for the better. We can use it in the other way. So choose the better way.
Yeah.
Choose the better way.
I think democracy in most of the countries like went too far because there's too much of a control and less prosperity. Because when there's control, it's like when the technology controlling people, but it has to be backwards. It has to be another way when we control the technology, so it's helping us. So we have to evolve as a society, I think, in a better way along with the technology. So it takes us far more because I haven't heard many um, like new discoveries from the scientists in the world of actual physics and mathematics. Like it's been quite a long time. Not because nobody nobody's actually doing anything. I think it's because it's a lot of pressure from the governments all over the world. That's what's happening. But yes, if everyone will start meditating, if everyone will start
Yeah,
with their own, fighting their own truth, power, and we can
yeah,
shift focus. I don't think we're meant to know as an individual, know all the problems from all over the world, because we live in the digital world. We in the, at our fingertips we have our phones. We can see what's happening, LA fires, we can see the wars, we can see all the
yeah,
struggles. About how I know about the Philippines, I just heard it somewhere on YouTube, which, like, if we take, at least 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I wouldn't even know about it like so quickly. So it would be like so outdated before I hear it. So it doesn't even exist anymore. So now, I think we're overwhelmed with information, and the only way to work with that is just go within, and you will find that true path. At least if you won't find it clearly, you will be on the right direction. I think that would be the message that I read from your dialogue as well.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes they are saying that history repeats itself, but I hope not. But if ever it will repeat, I hope there's a modern version. Like, I mean, not in a such a bad way, but yeah. I mean, if I mean from one of if you read about the history about about the
Right.
what they call that the story of the gods and goddesses and how what's in the past, it's always with conflict. But of course, I don't want conflict in our generation. But sometimes it's the only way on how we learn as a human being. And even in storytelling, actually, conflict is one of the best ways to have a character development. Actually, so yeah, I hope it's not war actually, but I mean, something
Some major
better
some
in
major
such a way.
event
But
some major event
yeah,
always happens in
yeah, it's
in history.
inevitable. If you trace back in history, it's like the same pattern of our ancestors. So I hope since we have internet nowadays, I hope it's gonna be different. The very least.
We can hope for the best, but what we can do is actually, like, once again, focus on ourselves, I think. And writing the books, writing music. I am a musician. I've been writing music since I was like in high school, and I'm still doing it. And definitely, just like with writing, with any like creative work, I think that creativity
Creative.
is the key, the love is the key. And if you focus on that, the world will change. um yes. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to add
Yeah,
to our podcast today?
yeah. I mean, just do your own. What you think is your you came here to do. I mean, it really depends on where you are on your journey. Okay. So since I've been on this journey for a long year for in the last few years, so I have done my own initiation. I have done so many things, meditation, travel. Oh, also, let's before I finish, that third part of
Right.
my book is I called Awakening. So
Okay.
there's foundation, quest, and awakening. So awakening, it started with a kind of a dream, and then it goes from another meditation retreat. So it's like it was like I was what my aim for that part is like I was tying everything together and how I came into a conclusion that how I came into writing essentially. Like everything that happens to me is for a reason, and that it needs to happen regardless of how traumatic or how dark or how how we label it. But it's like part of our process because that's the foundation of growth. So the third part is like it's like the finale of
Yeah.
everyone they coming together. And yeah, that's why I have written it in that way so that people will have to find their own awakening, find their own journey, their own self discovery. Because every one of us is on a hero's journey. It's just a matter of different roles, different characters. You pick a mage on this lifetime, you pick a warrior, you pick a magician. I mean, a whatever. So it really depends on what is your uh,
I think
numerology,
that they're like,
astrology.
I think they're like a few levels, maybe, like a dozen of
Yeah,
levels. And eventually, if you grow, If you do inner work, if you do shadow work, you become definitely a magician.
Yeah.
So you can actually change the world around you. If you know,
Yeah.
reprogram the from the inside, you will reprogram from the world from the outside. So otherwise, it's not gonna work. Otherwise, you will be programmed. For example, you will be stuck at the job you don't like with people, you know, who don't value you. You will always gonna be misunderstood. But with so many, not just shadow work, I work with so many specialists as well. Myself, psychiatrists, life coaches, and
Yeah. Yep.
astrology. You know, like you name it. I work with everyone. You know, even regression and one little thing you remove as a node from your brain, you create a new path, new neural path, and you just kind of test it. Like you just go outside and you already see different world. You see that, you know, the sun is brighter, the colors are different, people are smiling, which they were never smiling. And while while I'm saying it's 22 on the clock, which is it's true. Significant number, right?
10:22.
Yeah. Well,
At
it's
least for
20.
my time.
Yeah, for your time, it's 22. Yes. Um, so, yeah, I think that's about it. Cool. So, how if the person is
Mm.
really interested about your story, like how they can find your social media, how they can find your book? Can you share with us?
Yes, so I have here my book. It's called Transformation here. So it's like TRANC, trans. That's like trans, word trans and formation. So
Yeah.
it you can find me on social media, the real Rayster. So it's like PHEREAL, then RAYSTER Rayster. So yeah, my social media is literally the same. So you can just search me in Google if you want. Uh, that's about it. And also on Amazon. My book is
Yeah, and
available on
from
Amazon.
there, you have a link on your social on Instagram, right? For to find your book, right?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
Okay.
All of my book related things is on my social media.
Awesome. Awesome. It was a nice conversation. We have over an hour for the show, which is great minimum, I believe. I hope we can at some point we can you will have a great story to tell, maybe another book you write or maybe another project to share. We can
Yeah,
record one more podcast and talk about it because I believe like there's not enough time in the world to talk about all the things because if I was
yeah,
interrupting you too much with my stories and you would actually share more than you had to, not related to the book, we would never finish today. But it was kind of structured, nice. At the same time, it was fully channeled, no preparation and questions from my side.
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's what it actually to be more authentic, more nice, because
yeah.
it's a real conversation. So whoever's yeah is listening, this podcast is what you probably hearing it, but there is a chance to there's a way to see the podcast as a video. What you want to do is you will find in the description our Patreon account where you can sign up for the monthly membership. You will access the video from the podcast. But if you want to just hear it, you can just find it anywhere on Spotify, on YouTube, and any major channels for podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ray, for joining, and nice to
Thank you,
having
Vic.
you. All right.
It's been a pleasure.